Have you ever read a book and you're like, man, this is so good. I want to share it with all my friends? Well, in today's podcast, we're going to have an incredible opportunity to uncover a book from Business Secrets from History's Most Influential Book. And we're so excited to share some principles that we love. So we just want to share it with our friends today.
Yeah. And so now, before we start, we just want to reassure you this isn't about religion. These principles that we're going to dive in today are universal truths that have stood the test of time. They've proven to bring success in business and in life. So today, we're going to explore how these ideas can directly impact your salon, your team, and your clients. So by the end of this episode, you'll walk away with actionable steps to transform your salon into a thriving, purpose driven business. And so, what we're going to be diving into today is it's by Rabbi Daniel Lapin or Lapin. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but it's going to be about all about business secrets from the Bible. That's right. We're going to be diving into, just some incredible things that we took away from this amazing book.
Awesome. All right. So if you truly believe that business is a moral and spiritual activity and you apply these principles in your salon, like we know that this will help you set up for more financial success, but also have that deeper fulfillment and a lasting impact. Because when we know a principle is tried and true, like it's been proven to be true over and over again. So the principles that we're pulling from this book, Business Secrets from the Bible, like we know that they work based upon the most influential book in history, the Bible. And so when we think about principle number one, this is one of my favorites. Actually, they're all my favorites, but this one really resonated with me. It's like principle number one, it says faith in the marketplace. And so I think this is really beautiful because, the key idea around this is that business is about serving others and creating value. When you think about that, faith in the marketplace means believing that business itself is good. It's a way of serving others by solving problems and meeting needs. So, like, if you really get crystal clear about that word faith and you think about what we do or we get to do in the salon every single day, like creating that space of serving others is really what's going to help you grow, your team grow, and your company grow. Because you may be thinking, okay, that's cool, Jim, but what is faith? And faith is the belief in things unseen. It's the confidence that your efforts will lead to results, even when the path ahead isn't fully clear. And that, like, something that stands out to me in that sentence that I just said was like that word confidence. Like, when we're confident in ourselves, that means that we're trusting ourselves. And so it's the same thing with our teams as well. It's like, how are we, boosting their confidence as well? Because when their confidence is boosted, we're able to serve more people and give more value.
I love this principle so much. And I think back to, my journey as a salon owner over the years, probably when I first got into business, I had no idea, what I was doing, first of all. If you've ever been there, you can relate. But truly, sometimes when you first get into business, you think, I want to provide something different than what's out there, or whatever it is that got you into the salon usually isn't what keeps you there. And I think this principle, by having faith in the marketplace and faith in the belief of things that are unseen, is one of the key ingredients to making it and being successful in the salon business. So in your salon, faith in the marketplace looks like trusting that by consistently delivering excellent service and focusing on the needs of your clients. And then what we know is success will follow. So it's about showing up every day with the belief that your work makes a difference. And I think this is so key, especially when we think about, like, I started out at the front desk inside of the salon that I eventually ended up purchasing. And so making sure that everybody inside of the company knows, like, hey, your work matters here, you make a difference here. I think that that's one way that we can see this belief played out. But another thing, a practical tip is to start each team meeting or salon celebration with a moment to reflect on how the salon serves its clients and the community. So, you want to encourage your team to share stories where their work made an impact. It really reinforces the fact that, the faith that they have in their work truly matters.
So good. I was just having a conversation yesterday with some leaders on my team, and I said, like when we have faith like this, like our words like have such a big impact for everyone involved. And I was like, just think about the way that we're speaking to our team too. Let's say you're up front and a new client comes in and she has this huge, big, full, thick hair. And so you run to the back and you're like, Lindsay, your next guest is here. And oh my gosh, she's going to take you forever because she has all of this hair. And in that moment, like the service provider that's getting ready to serve the client is like, oh my gosh, I don't have this much time. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. Oh my gosh, what I'm going to do. And so like, I just love that like when we truly have faith and we're truly just there to serve, you never know what kind of difference you can make for that person that has that beautiful, full, thick hair. And so to just come from a place of, serving them and helping make their life better is going to help the service providers in the company and your company's life better too.
Oh, that's incredible, Jen, And another one of our favorite principles from this book is principle number 2, which is making money is a spiritual activity. Earning an income through serving others is a moral and spiritual pursuit. I think one of the most misunderstood concepts is that making money is somehow selfish or greedy. And in this book, they show you that by, how earning money is a byproduct of helping others, and I think also, I one time heard, I can't remember if it was in this book or from somewhere else, that somebody said, maybe Jen, you'll remember if it was in this book, I only want to make enough to live comfortably. And, that is one of the worst things that we can say, because if you're only making enough to live comfortably, you're actually being super selfish with that, and when you earn enough that you're able to help others, like that's how you can truly make an impact in the world. So every dollar that you earn reflects a service that was provided. It's a client whose problems you've solved or a person who you've made feel beautiful and confident. So money is simply just the acknowledgement of the value that you have created. And I think that that's a key thing to remember, because a lot of times we get stuck on this story, these stories that we have around money. But when we look at the, one of the most influential stories of all time, and it's telling us, hey, like money is not selfish. Making money is not selfish or greedy. It's
Mhm.
actually one of the best things that you can do to make the biggest impact in the world.
That's so good. Yeah, like just imagine what could transform in your salon if your team had the same principle or the same mindset around that. Because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but I've experienced team members being like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to charge $300 or $400. Like that seems like a lot. I could never pay that." And like we really have to flip that on its head and think about like someone paying us is actually a beautiful thing because we're giving them more confidence. Maybe we're giving them a style that's going to help them go on a date that they've been dying to go on, or maybe we're giving them confidence to go and get that interview, but they for that job that they've been hoping to get. And so, like to really understand that money is so spiritual, just you know, how can we really empower clients at the end of the day by knowing that them paying us is a really beautiful thing because we're going to be able to give them something that they haven't been able to experience somewhere else.
So good, Jen. And I think that ties in really perfectly with principle number 3, which is the power of relationships. The key idea around this principle number 3 is that business success is built on trust, connection, and collaboration. So when we think about this, wealth is truly created through relationships, not isolation. So in the salon, your relationships with your clients, your team, and your community are everything. And so when you can really focus on creating an environment where clients feel seen, heard, and valued, that helps you build trust by delivering that consistent high quality service and truly stay engaged with their needs. And I think sometimes even recognizing, hey, when you get to a certain stage in business, one of your key assets to the whole company is really stepping out and engaging in your community, building relationships through serving on boards, growing in your leadership inside of the community. Maybe it's building a relationship with the neighborhood that you're in. Maybe there's some sort of a
Mhm.
board for that, or maybe it's your chamber of commerce. Maybe even looking at organizations in your community that kind of align with your values and vision, and getting connected to them. When you're able to find places like that really helps build the synergy of your team, and helps you find more like-minded people, that kind of think like you, that also want to build in those relationships and visit people on your team. And so I love principle number 3, which is the power of relationships, because truly when you're creating that trust and connection and collaboration, especially with the right people, that's where magic can really happen.
Yeah, and I love the thought of that principle too, is because like the power of relationships, the power of releasing relationships as well that are not working in your salon company, like that it can be such a gift to the person that needs to, find a new opportunity and for your team. We said this before, but like your salon company is like a sacred temple. And like we don't want people walking
Mhm.
around with dirty feet. And so I think the power of relationships and even realizing sometimes that there's relationships that we need to release, and this thinking about the impact, the good that that will do when you make that release for someone.
So good, Jen. That is, really something that I think, salon owners can struggle with. I know that I've been there
Mhm.
before where you're like, do I keep them? Do I release them? And really looking at those building relationships for the highest good, I think is so important. And knowing, hey, you're actually serving them to their highest good when you release them, because if they're displaying that they don't want to be there, the last place that you want them to be is there with you. And so
Yes.
just really paying attention to that, I think, is key. And also encouraging your stylists to really build relationships with incredible people, and helping them to see, like, okay, let's pay attention to all the little details of a relationship, because a lot of times when people think of relationships, they might think of like a primary relationship. Maybe it's like a spouse. Depending upon your age, your primary relationship is going to look different. It might be your parents if you're really young. It's probably your spouse if you're in the midsection of your life. And sometimes, as you get older, it's your children if you have them. And so just really paying attention. A lot of times people think about that. But the way that you serve each other in that relationship is a really good way to view, like, how are we going to serve our clients, keeping notes, like
Mhm.
what are some of their favorite things, what are some details that we need to know about this person that can really help
Mhm.
strengthen our connection. Paying attention to, we were talking the other day about how we are so lucky because we get to display all of the 5 love languages with our guests, and so that's why we build so much affinity and so much love with our clients, because we get to touch them. We're giving them gifts, yeah, a lot of times they're buying the products and
Mhm.
stuff that they take home with them, but gifts, there's acts of service, you're doing something, you're serving them. There's words of affirmation, you're telling them, that they look incredible, and they're spending that quality time with you. And so I think just even remembering, hey, that's all a part of the power of relationships, and really paying attention to that, and helping encourage your teammates to really strengthen those connections is key.
Love that. All right, so let's move on to principle number 4, which is the dignity of work. And so, the idea here is that work is a meaningful activity that brings purpose and fulfillment. And, work isn't just a means to an end, it's like a fundamental part of who we are. And in the salon, this means like taking pride in your craft and recognizing the value that you bring to others. And in the book, he even talks about retirement. And he says, because like really we're put here to serve. And so when people go into retirement and they lose that opportunity to serve, they actually, it changes who they are and they actually can lose a part of who they are. And so it was just really interesting to me when I heard that. I was like, wow, that is so true. And sometimes people will go on to serve and do different things, but like he even talks about in the book that retirement is not part of the Bible for a reason because we were truly put here to serve. And so when I think about like, imagine how we can translate this into our salon space. And one way is like to really think about and celebrate your team's hard work and accomplishments. Best yet, or highest paycheck, or we talk about the gold promise a lot in Salon Business School, and recognizing when a team member goes above and beyond on the gold promise. Like you see a consultation that is amazing, or you see like a finishing technique that is amazing, or somebody on the hospitality team that did a fabulous check-in or a fabulous checkout. So I think that recognition helps people feel more powerful at the end of the day, and that helps them like want to do more. And I think when people want to do more, everyone wins.
So good. And Jen, I love that you said that piece about retirement. I back when I was a service provider, I had a client who was in college actually, and she got to go do an internship in Arizona one summer. And, she worked in the gerontology. She was studying some sort of gerontology at in university. And, what her whole internship was about was teaching people how to retire. And I remember when she told me that, I was like, what? I mean, what? People need to learn how to retire, but it makes so much sense because you, like you said, you are giving up so much of you when you aren't in service of others. And so that's what she talked about. That was people, it was a lot of high profile people who would come and learn how to still use their skills for the highest good. Like they would get connected to boards that could really use their knowledge. Maybe some of them were consultants, whatever it might be. I think I love this principle, the dignity of work, because really even just reminding, I think, your team about how their contribution really truly does make a big impact in the world. We believe that stylists are like the honeybees of the earth. They think that they're just going out making honey each day. But truly, what we can do inside of the salon is pollinate the earth. And the way that we can do that is by making an amazing contribution to where we help lift people up when they come to see us, and we have a lot of dignity and pride. Like gone are the days of like coming to gossip in the salon. Like when you come here, we want to help you transform who you are. We want you to leave feeling like the most confident, beautiful version of yourself, and so I think when you help your team really see the contribution that they're making to the world, it makes so many other parts of their life easier, and it helps them to be able to, let's say, set better goals or keep more motivated and purpose driven. And I think when we operate from this space, it feels effortless and it feels very high value.
Yes, love that. All right. So, principle number 5 is the importance of communication. The idea here is that clear, honest communication is the foundation of, we know, strong relationships and success. And when you think about it, it's like one of the most important tools in business. Communication is key. How many times have you heard that? And when you think about it, it's like with your clients, whether it's with your clients or your team, like being clear, empathetic, and direct fosters trust and reduces misunderstandings. Just like in consultations, communication is key to truly understanding what the client's wants are and ensuring they leave happy. Because most of the time, if you've ever dealt with a client that's not happy, like if we reverse engineer it, it always goes back to the consultation. There was just a misunderstanding of what the client desired and what the service provider picked up. And so I just think that using communication and having that empathy for others is such a beautiful gift. I think I saw it on TikTok, or I can't remember Instagram, but it was called the Compassion Project. And if you haven't
Mm,
seen it, check it out. But the Compassion Project is this lady, she was actually incarcerated for a while, and when she got out, she made it her mission to bring love into prisons. And so she goes and speaks in
mm,
prisons, and she's in this prison, and she has everyone in the prison, inmates, to line up in this big circle. And so it's this huge circle of inmates, and she starts asking questions, and she talks about, like, take a step forward if you were abused as a child. Take a step forward if one of your parents was an addict. Take a step forward. And she just goes through all of these things. And, like, the most, I mean, it almost brought tears, because you see this
mm,
big circle shrink to a really small circle. And what she said is that, like, we don't realize, like, having empathy, we never know what someone's story is. So having that empathy for someone, and, like she said, in prisons, we realize that most people in prison have never felt loved. And so,
mm.
like, sometimes you just never know what a client is going through. And so, to have that empathy, if you feel like sometimes they're being challenging or difficult, to have that conversation with your team of, like, sometimes just listen to them, just like she did in the prison. She just listened to them, she showed them love. Like, that's where we can really take communication and create a space for transformation.
Wow, Jen, that is such a powerful story. And, I've seen that too. And it is, if you haven't, definitely, you could find it, like you said, on TikTok or Instagram. It does just make you realize how connected we all truly are, and just how many things, that people have experienced in their lives. And, I think that's what's really cool about what we do each day is, like, we get to serve other people. And I love this principle number 5 of the importance of communication, because I think a lot of times it's easy to think, oh, that client's crazy, or, that client wants something unrealistic, or, whatever it is. But I think when you use the tool of communication to really dig deeper and ask more questions, like, why do you want to go from box black to platinum blonde? Why do you want to do all of these different things? What, instead of saying, wow, this person's crazy, um, digging in deeper, communicating, being more clear, helping, them, even just listening or helping them understand the path to get to where it is that they want to go, I think really holds so much power. And, it can really just foster a deeper connection, and really provide some amazing support for whoever it is that you're serving. And so I think a great practical tip around this one is, like, at your next salon celebration or team meeting, really focus on, like, how can we communicate better with our guests? I think
Mhm.
it's also a great idea, maybe even if you don't do, as deep of questions as they did, on that Instagram or TikTok, like, even just looking for ways that, to show your team how truly connected each person is. I think that's such a powerful tool and a great way to communicate.
Love that. All right. So, just to think about the 5 principles that we touched on today, and thinking about applying them to your salon, imagine the impact that you can have, having faith in the marketplace, to know that making money is a spiritual activity, the power of relationships, the dignity of work, the importance of communication. And just remember, these principles aren't just about religion, they're about universal truths that can transform your business. All right. So just imagine what your salon would look like if you were able to fully embrace these principles. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll catch you soon.